Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. It's your hostess with the mostest. Welcome. Okay, no, not the periodic table. We will be getting there soon enough. Okay, this is another semi-approved message because God told me to stop playing and get back to that table, alright? But I have been allowed to talk about this, alright? What are you connected to? Hear me, that you have no control over. Okay? And this could be literally anything. Whether it's by blood, some of the things in the spirit you may not even be aware that you're connected to, right? And this is the whole purpose of not only having these conversations, but building with the Creator so He can reveal to us, right, what we are linked in with, without even knowing, right? There are a lot of different things that you are connected to that you may not want to be connected to. Sorry about that. And before you even start thinking about the things that you can't see, look at the things that you feel have chosen you, right? What has occurred in your life that you feel, okay? Listen to me. What has occurred in your life that you feel has led to you going through things that you absolutely could not avoid. And this is going to start bringing you to your choices. Well, it should, right? It should start making you reflect on the things that you've decided to do in order to survive, the things that you've done in order to, prevail. And this is all basically just survival tactics, right? These are things that you have connected yourself to by way of choice. Your decision has led you to a particular place, whether it be physically or in spirit. Many of us, we tend to focus on the things that other people have done to lead us to where we currently are. And this is not even like an accountability topic, right? This is just you trying to figure out and place basically where the warfare even started with you and for you. What happened? What was the first thing? And if you really are going through warfare, you might be able to track this thing all the way back to childhood, okay? If this is generational, it'll be something that you can pinpoint for maybe every phase of your life. And not only is it going to be for every phase of your life, you're going to notice a cycle, a pattern, right? Every so often or every few years, right? And this is if it's really generational, because the warfare could just be coming for you because you're the one who's breaking the curse. And although that is generational, that's totally different from being trapped in the cycle that is related to your blood. Remember, we talked about that. It came up a little bit, right? So if you can't identify what's going on and what's happened, then you're probably going to have a really hard time breaking the spell or even knowing what is linked to your bloodline or your generations, right? And this is not to say that the generational and the blood, line curses aren't one and the same, because they are, but there is a distinction between the two, okay? Gravely similar, but there are distinctions, and you yourself have to be able to look back up your lineage on father's side and mother's side, and look at how both of those bloodlines are affecting you in the here and now. How has it always affected you from the beginning of your life up till today? What is reoccurring? You see the same thing happening over and over again. That's a cycle being repeated by you, and it has more than likely been perpetuated, by your family, whether it's your parents or someone just in your bloodline. So you have to be willing to look at the scenario for what it is and say, okay, wait a minute. let me back up from this whole thing, right? You're sitting at the table, push away from the table and look at everything there on it. What has been served to you? What did you pick up and put on the platter for yourself? And all of the things that you have been decided may very well be, just environmental factors. This is just all you've been exposed to. So this is just the pick of the litter, right? This is what you had to choose from. But it was still a choice. Your ideals, your perception, your overall way of life is, of course, something that's gonna, factor in and make a bigger difference. I'll give you an example. If you grow up in the hood, like all of us, right, and you have two parents that grew up in the hood, but they decided to shelter you. So you weren't outside. You didn't go to, the high school parties or the skating rink or the movie theater or the local park. You didn't get to do everything that everyone that's in your peer group got to do. So your lifestyle was slightly different. So this closes off a lot of the different options that are available to you. You understand? This limits the possibility or the instance of attack. It doesn't stop it. It doesn't prevent it, right? You can't really escape it or avoid it because at some point you have to go out and experience things for yourself. But the overall point here is that, do you understand that your environment is one of the greatest things that will allow you to be exposed to the very thing that your ancestors were exposed to? It could be from Jamaica to Puerto Rico to Florida to Jersey back to Washington State. It doesn't even have to be in the same geographic location. And I am sitting outside, so you might hear sounds of nature, okay? Trains, people, animals, all that good stuff. Cars, whatever. Okay, so the overall gist is that you need to focus on what have you decided for yourself and what has decided to just be attached to you. And again, that can be one and the same because of your environment. So it's understood that the options, right, that you have to choose from are very limited. We get that. But your choices are solely based off of your desires, your environment, and what you were taught. Peer pressure is a mug, right? So I'm not even saying people can't put you under pressure and then you feel obligated to do certain things because of your relationships. Maybe the dynamics of the relationship, between you and certain people have pushed you to make, unfavorable decisions. Okay, that's fine. But the overall point here is to make a good decision, and not even to make a good decision. Take a good look at your past. Your history is telling. And there's not one thing that has happened to you that didn't start with a choice. And I'll take it even further. There's nothing that happened to you that hasn't happened to your ancestors. Majority of the time, the things that you experience is often, and we've discussed this, is often a result of residue left over in your bloodline, right? So you have to be willing to look at that and say, I didn't do this, but it happened. I didn't do this, but it happened. And I have no control over my circumstances until I decide that I need to do something to change them. Again, this goes back to what are you connected to that you have absolutely no control over. And as an adult, as a mature adult, as a responsible adult, this is going to look different for everyone. As a child, obviously, depending on your household, that's going to also look different. If you have certain ailments, that's going to vary, how you can even answer this question, right? Example, I'm not even going to use drugs. Let's just say, what is it called? Sickle cell, right? Really popular blood condition amongst black people especially, right? This is something that has been exposed to you, or you've been exposed to rather, genetically. You have absolutely no control over that. It's highly likely that a few generations back up the lineage, somebody didn't have it. So what happened as a result of this ailment or this illness? What has caused this condition to plague the bloodline? Of course we know it's a curse, but why was the bloodline cursed? That is important because that is attached to you until you get to shake it off. So your healing process is you healing for the bloodline before and after, for the generations currently and moving forward. You can't really fix what happened on the physical side of things, but on the spiritual side of things, you can make some changes if you are committed to allowing the Creator to guide you in making those changes, to upgrade your bloodline and the generations that are after you. You can't upgrade the generations behind you, but you can upgrade the bloodline, right? Because a lot of these energies and spirits are in the family, even if it's a good spirit, right? Like the spirit of being smart. You have some families that are completely smart, right? And the way that spirit was fed, right? The spirit of intelligence, that spirit is constantly fed by being nurtured. And a lot of people, they're born into these families where their gifts are suppressed and ignored and even spoken against. Sometimes your family, or because it doesn't have to be your family bloodline, right? You could be adopted, and this could just be the environment. And you could be totally different from everybody in your environment because of your bloodline, or vice versa, right? So this is all a subjective thing. This all goes back to what happened years and years ago without, your current knowledge. And if it's something that God wants you to work on, He'll reveal it to you, right? If you allow Him the time to show you what it is that you need to see, He will show you. He will, okay? Your job is to find out what you need to do to fix whatever is wrong that is in your power. You're not going to be able to fix everything unless God wants you to. Unless this is something that He actually said, okay, this is what I want you to do specifically. Again, everything connected to you is not your blood. Keep that in mind. Some of your soulmates are people that look nothing like you. And you have to link with these people in order to complete the assignment. They may be a different race. They may come from a different culture. They may come from a totally just different everything, different gender, everything, right? You don't have to look at your soulmate as physical, intimate partners. Intimacy is required to build with the Creator. We're not physically touching God, but we can feel His presence when we literally and truly and genuinely tap in from our heart chakras, from our third eye chakras, from our sacral and our root chakras. We can tap into the Creator anytime. You can call Him in. You can use your throat chakra. Remember, we talked about this. So, before I go, I just wanted to say that. And, I asked the Creator if I could. He did say no, but He said, go ahead, because we need to get back to the periodic table. He did tell me no, but then He said, okay, go ahead. All right. So that's why I said a slight approval. Because once you figure out and you start to look at the things that you chose, the things that you did not choose, you'll be able to start stifling out all of the nonsense. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I do love y'all, genuinely, truly. I hope y'all are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea. Why? Because it's free. And I hope to see y'all next week at the Source of Knowledge bookstore downtown, October the 14th at 3 o'clock. We're going to be doing a sip and plant, okay? Everything free. Love y'all. Peace.